It is the Gee Ursula Show. Happy Tuesday to all of you. We have scenarios that will happen at 10:45. But right now, we are just 2 weeks away from kids heading back to school in our state as the Delta variant rampage, just going all across the nation right now. Will school be able to keep the doors open? Joining the Gee and Ursula Show right now is our state superintendent, Chris Reykdal. Chris, good morning to you, brother.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. First of all, you've advocated for the governor to mandate vaccinations for teachers and school staff. Do you expect that to happen?
I do. I think we'll hear an announcement here in the next day or two, consistent with state employees, all school personnel, and of course I have to remind everybody that a vaccine mandate comes with options for employees, so medical or religious exemption. It is a false statement to say the choice is to get vaccinated or lose your job. There are options for folks.
Let's preview what could happen here by looking across the country. Within days of reopening, in-person instruction has been suspended due to COVID-19 outbreaks at schools in nearly a dozen counties in Mississippi, Georgia, Kentucky, and Texas. Almost 6,000 students and staff are in quarantine in just one district in the state of Florida. Chris, the last time you spoke to our show, you said schools would be moving forward with 100% in-person instruction being offered. Are there plans in place to send the kids back home if outbreaks occur?
There is a plan in every district. Should a public health official make that declaration, I still don't expect that. We are opening school. We're, in fact, about ready to open schools all over Eastern Washington next week. It's exactly why I support the governor's mask order, universal masking without any exceptions in our buildings, and a vaccine requirement for staff. This is the kind of multiple layers that allow us to open school and keep it open in contrast to what we're seeing all over the South right now.
So Chris, do schools have the capacity to teach remotely for kids in quarantine and teach in-person classes? Do they have the capacity to do both?
Yeah, it's a really powerful question. It's one of my biggest concerns. They have the capacity now from a technology standpoint. It's really, really difficult to run hybrid models, which is why you saw districts pretty much open last year or for the most part closed. And then right at the end, as we required some districts to open, they had to run hybrid models. But it's really, really tough. We're working our tails off to make it available in person for every family who wants it.
Will this come?
So
this,
then what is what's your personal confidence in the ability or our ability to keep our children safe, right? Sending them back to school. And I don't know if you have children, but if you had children or if you do, would you be sending them to school?
Yeah, I do have children, and I said this, a year ago. I'm really confident in the measures we put in place. I also vaccinated my children right away. That was a family choice of ours. I know others don't share that, but I've tried to create every possible protection, both for schools and my own family. And it's why our state successfully opened last year and had, half the case rates, half the hospitalizations, and ultimately half the mortality rate of the nation as a whole. Our multiple strategies give me very high confidence. But I keep saying, I've said this to, Gee for the last year, it doesn't mean perfect confidence. I know there will be cases in schools. We had some last year, but part of these strategies keep outbreaks to a very minimum so we can have continuity. What we're avoiding is that 600-person, 400-person, 1,000-student outbreak that we're seeing all over the South because they're resisting vaccines and they're really resisting mask requirements, and that is the worst combination.
That is the voice of the superintendent of Washington schools here on the Gee and Ursula Show, Chris Reykdal. I would assume, we all would assume, that the school districts and schools are better prepared to go through this again, like last year, and probably because of all of the lessons that have been learned. In your opinion, why do you think that school districts here in the state of Washington are better prepared to go through this again in 2021 than they were in 2020?
Yeah, first, I hope we don't have to. I want to be in person. I think we've built the framework to do that. But if so, you have 70,000 educators who have now experienced this for more than a year in terms of delivering teaching and learning. You've got support staff who know how to deliver that remotely. We built food distribution networks to ensure that we got millions and millions of meals to families and kids who needed it. We really have built the ability to flip that switch to go remote if we absolutely have to. But I don't want to, because we also saw attendance impacts, letter grade impacts for kids. And now I'm seeing what's called iReady scores. We have districts who use an assessment for math and reading. And like the rest of the country, the more remote you were, it appears the more impact there was. And fortunately, it wasn't significant, but impactful enough that we should try to be in person, follow the safety measures, keep the virus spread to a minimum. That's the goal we're all working towards.
I'm a parent. You're a parent. There's a lot of parents that are listening right now. If I'm a parent, what should I plan for? Should I expect intermittent closures for a couple weeks throughout this school year?
Well, I'm a planner, so I always have plan A, B, and C. Right now, though, nothing in the data would suggest to me that we need to have closures for any length of time. If we wear masks, if we follow our protocols, as more and more people get vaccinated, you're going to create a protective factor in schools that is better than just about anywhere else by a lot. But it does mean there will be outbreaks. And typically an outbreak is 2 or 3 students or staff, very small and isolated. It's possible that some people will experience quarantines, but the more we vax up and the more we mask up, we really significantly reduce the likelihood of that occurring. But you cannot rule it out. Remember, masks aren't required outdoors, so I know there'll be some athletic events that cause issues. I know there'll be some sports teams that have outbreaks, and we'll have to deal with those one at a time. But our classrooms, I just can't imagine are anything but the safest in the country based on the protocol we have and the request I've made of the governor. That would make us the safest state in the country.
Superintendent Chris Reykdal, thank you for your time. And you know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping that we go the entire school year of in person. That's what I want.
That is the goal. Me too. It's good to talk to both of you.